and welcome to Tide TV This Week, brought to you by Thompson Tractor. I'm Roger Hoover, joined by Kara Goldstein. Kara, we've seen some great basketball lately for the Crimson Tide.
Yes, we have had quite a few nail-biters.
Certainly have, as the 7th-ranked Alabama men's basketball team hit the road this past Saturday for a top 20 matchup against a very tough Missouri team that entered the game ranked 17th in the nation. It wasn't a great first half for Alabama, as the Tide committed 8 turnovers and shot 31% from the field. That resulted in a 16-point Missouri lead at the half. The Tigers followed their strong first-half performance with an 8-3 run to begin the second and eventually extended their lead to 22 points, 58-36 with 12:43 to go. Trailing by 20, 64-44 with just over 6 minutes remaining, things started to click for the Tide. A John Petty Jr. three-pointer cut the Tigers' lead to 17. Another Petty three with 2:42 to go finally made it a single-digit deficit for the Tide, 66-58.
Alabama kept chipping away at Missouri's lead and finally got back to within 1 on this steal and layup by Keon Ellis, with 1:11 to go to make it 66-65. From there, the Tide had several chances to take the lead but couldn't convert. Down by 3 with 4 seconds left, Jaden Shackelford's shot to tie would come up short as Alabama dropped their first SEC matchup of the season to 17th-ranked Missouri 68-65. Jaden Shackelford led the Tide in the loss with 15 points.
Looking to get back in the win column on Tuesday night, Alabama was on the road for the second consecutive game, playing in a town named Columbia, this time in South Carolina against the Gamecocks. South Carolina jumped out to a 16-5 lead, but Alabama responded with a 10-2 run, capped off by this Josh Primo three-pointer that would tie the game at 18. With the Gamecocks up 3, 31-28, the Tide used another 10-2 run to take their largest lead of the game at that point, 38-33, with just over a minute to go in the half. The first half featured 6 ties and 3 lead changes, with Alabama taking the 39-36 lead at halftime.
To start the final 20 minutes of play, Alabama went up 44-40 before the Gamecocks scored 5 straight to take their only lead of the second half at 45-44, just over 2 minutes in. The Tide utilized a quick 6-0 run capped off by a John Petty Jr. three-pointer to regain the lead with 16:11 left to go in the second half. Alabama took its largest lead of the contest, 78-70, with 3:37 remaining before USC scored 6 straight to cut the lead to 78-76 with just over a minute to go. South Carolina held Alabama without a field goal the last 4 minutes and 20 seconds, but the Tide knocked down 5 of 6 key free throws down the stretch to pull out the win, 81-78.
I knew it was going to be a battle. You know, it would have been nice to open it up, but it's not bad to win a close one either. You know, I think we're 3-3 in 2 possession games. Last year we were 4-11. We put a big point of emphasis on learning how to close. I thought we did some dumb things late in the game, but we did enough to win it.
Alabama had 4 score in double figures, led by John Petty Jr., who led the Tide in points with 20 and rebounds with 8. Javon Quinterly also had a big game as he shot 5 of 8 from the floor and 3 of 5 from beyond the arc to finish with 13 points.
And just like last week's rankings, Alabama drops just 1 spot in the Associated Press Top 25. This week, the Tide is 11th. The team that beat Alabama this past Saturday, Missouri, jumped up 8 spots just ahead of the Tide at number 10. The only other SEC team in the rankings this week is the Tennessee Volunteers at 16.
Over in the coaches' top 25, Alabama fell 4 spots from 7 to 11. Missouri is number 10 in the coaches' rankings as well. Tennessee is 1 spot higher in the AP at number 15.
The Alabama volleyball team had their best performance of the year this past weekend in Oxford as they recorded their first sweep of the season in dramatic fashion. We'll show you how it ended coming up next.
Tide TV This Week presented by Thompson Tractor, the exclusive provider of Caterpillar heavy equipment and genuine cat parts for Alabama and Northwest Florida. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for more information. The University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, for great offers on F-150, see your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
Welcome back to Tide TV This Week, brought to you by Thompson Tractor. The Alabama volleyball team hit the road for the first time this spring as the Tide traveled to Oxford to take on the Ole Miss Rebels in a 2-match set this past weekend.
Going into last weekend, Alabama led the all-time series against Ole Miss 45-26, but it was 11-16 against the Rebels in Oxford. Hadn't won there since 2008. In the first match on Friday, it was a back-and-forth battle. Alabama dropped the first set 25-13, but battled back and took a 2-1 lead with wins in sets 2 and 3. The Rebels won a close 25-23 set to even it in the fourth, but the Tide ended strong with a 15-11 victory in set 5 to win the match 3-2 over the Rebels for their first win in Oxford since 2008.
There were plenty of dramatics on Saturday for the second match of the series. After Ole Miss won the opening set 25-22, the Tide evened the match with a 27-25 win in set 2. It was back and forth in set 3 as the Rebels eventually got the win 29-27 to pull ahead 2-1. Needing a win in the fourth set, the Tide battled back with the 25-20 win to force a fifth set. After leading 2-0, neither side would have more than a 1-point lead until the very end. Match point. With the Tide up 15-14, the Rebels returned the serve, but with an assist from Victoria Schmier to Abby Marjama, the ball landed in the back of the court just out of reach of the Rebels as Alabama came back from being down 2-1 to win the final two sets for the series sweep. Alabama generated plenty of points, tying a season-high 65 kills and posting 10 aces. It's most since 2017 and the most in SEC play since 2008. Wow, what a big weekend and an exciting finish for the Alabama volleyball team.
Absolutely. For more on the Crimson Tide sweep over the Ole Miss Rebels, our Kennedy Chase joins us now.
Alabama volleyball just had a very successful trip to Ole Miss this past weekend, sweeping the Rebels. That means there's no better time than now to visit with head volleyball coach Lindsay Devine. Hi, Coach. Congratulations on a series sweep. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate the time to catch up with you. Thank you so much.
So the team had their first sweep of the season on the road, winning both matches against the Rebels. How is the team feeling after that big win, and what are some of the strategies used to ensure that win?
Well, coming in on Monday, there were two tough matches, going to 5. So coming out victorious was certainly an easier way to slide into Monday's practice. I think the girls are feeling great. There was a combination of so many things that they did well over the weekend that I think we put them together and we were able to be victorious. So from the serve line to just some out-of-system attacks, everybody contributed and did their role really well this past weekend.
I know since it was that first big win since 2008, that team is really, really excited. So now that you have a couple of road wins, what do you think is important to continue to get these wins with the young team?
It's about consistency and playing with this intent and being relentless. We talk a lot about that in our practices. We come in and our girls have a really solid skill set, but are they able to replicate the skills over and over with consistency? And that's what you need in the SEC to compete and win.
That's amazing. And now on the road again this weekend, but this time facing Arkansas, what are some improvements that you expect to see from the team?
So this week, we talked about making it simple from all skill sets. So from the defensive standpoint, from our block, we got to be efficient in the moves that we make across the net. So we want our girls to anticipate and go to the ball and put that ball in a really good area so that our setters can get their hands on it. And then the other part is, of course, the pass game. We got to be in system. And so our primary passers need to do their role, keeping it simple, making sure platforms are ready early, and allow our setters to distribute the ball, which I think that they did this past weekend.
Well, I'm excited to see them play. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Of course, roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Stay with us. We'll have more TideTV this week coming up next.
TideTV This Week, presented by Thompson Tractor, the exclusive provider of Caterpillar heavy equipment and genuine cat parts for Alabama and Northwest Florida. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for more information. Ford, for great offers on F-150, see your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. The University of Alabama, where legends are made.
Welcome back to TideTV This Week, brought to you by Thompson Tractor. Spring is just around the corner, and you know what that means, Kira. It's almost time for baseball and softball to begin here at the University of Alabama.
We are so excited. The Alabama baseball team has been officially practicing for a couple of weeks now as they prepare for the 2021 season.
Coach Bohannon's squad opens the season with a 3-game series here at the Joe against McNeese State beginning on February 19th. Crimson Tide have already received national attention before the season has even begun. Sophomore Connor Prelip has already been named First-Team All-America by D1Baseball.com, Collegiate Baseball News, and Perfect Game USA. Alabama also begins the season ranked 25th in Baseball America's preseason poll.
The Alabama softball team has also been out on the practice field as they get ready for the 2021 season. Patrick Murphy's team has been practicing for almost a month now. The 25th ranked Alabama softball team has been receiving some recognition as well. Alabama begins the season ranked 8th in the NFCA, USA softball, and D1 softball preseason polls. The Crimson Tide were also selected as the preseason favorite to win the SEC by the league's coaches. It's going to be such an exciting season to watch, both baseball and softball this season.
Yes, it will be, Kieran. You don't have to wait very much longer at all as the Alabama softball team begins their season this weekend. For more on the Crimson Tide, our Christopher England joins us now.
The Alabama softball team begins their season this weekend in Austin for the Texas Classic. To preview the season and opening weekend for the Tide, I'm joined by the head coach of the Alabama softball team, Patrick Murphy. Coach Murphy, it's great to see you, and thank you for joining us.
Christopher, it's great to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Coach. Hopefully we'll be able to do interviews in person at some point soon, but for now we'll have to do it this way. But, you know, it's been almost a year since you've played. Your last series was the conference opener last season against Arkansas. That last game was on March 8th. What have things been like for you since then as a coach and then as a team?
Well, it's been a whirlwind, to be honest. It had happened so suddenly, and, you know, we tried to stay together all summer long. About every 2 or 3 weeks, we had a Zoom call, kind of like we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, really glad to get everybody back in August. And they worked really, really hard all fall. Michelle Diltz, our strength coach, did a heck of a good job keeping them in shape. And then the other thing we had to worry about was an extended Thanksgiving, Christmas holiday. But everybody came back in really good shape. I was very proud of everybody. We didn't have to do any extra conditioning. So, you know, we were ready to go the first day of practice. And so far, so good. We've stayed away from COVID, and we're ready to go now.
The seniors get an extra year. You will have a bigger roster due to those seniors being granted an extra year of eligibility. And I thank you to Coach Battle for making that possible as he funded the scholarships for those seniors to be able to come back. With the newcomers that you're adding, though, how will it be difficult to manage this bigger roster?
Well, you know, we've been talking about that a lot in the office, and our number right now is 22. And to be honest with you, that's probably a perfect number for college softball right now. You know, we have an extended pitching staff. We have 6 pitchers. We have 2 people at almost every position. So our depth is really good. You know, we have pinch runners, we have pinch hitters. So 22 might be the perfect number for us.
And this isn't a cupcake schedule to open up the season this weekend. As you said, you have 2 games against number 6 Texas, 1 against number 3 Arizona, and 2 against Colorado State. Just talk about what went into picking this tournament to open the season, and how do you feel like that's going to help prepare you for SEC play?
Well, it was, you know, we usually do our scheduling probably 18 months to 2 years out. So this has been on the books for a while. And, you know, we respect the heck out of Texas. They're a great program, great athletes, great coaching staff. The facility is great. You know, obviously Austin is a great city to travel to. We didn't know all this COVID stuff was going to happen then, but, you know, we're dealing with it, and we're really thankful that we get to do this, just number one. So, but I'm hoping that this will be a rivalry in the making, because obviously we played them in Super Regionals in 2019. We're going to play them again this year, and they're going to come back to us in 2022. So I would not mind at all going back to them in 23 and just kind of make this an annual home and away series. You know, they're a Big 12, Power 5, really good team, and it's a win-win situation for both schools. To play Texas and Austin, it's a short flight over, short flight back, and, you know, everybody can be in their own bed, you know, Sunday night and be ready for school Monday morning.
All this weekend's games can be seen on the Longhorn Network. Good luck this season, Coach, and look forward to talking with you again soon.
Hey, thanks a lot.
All right, stay with us. We'll have more Tide TV this week coming up next.
Welcome back. After a weekend off, the Alabama track and field team returned to action at Columbia, South Carolina this past weekend.
And the Tide shattered 4 indoor track and field records in their return.
In the women's 3,000-meter, Mercy Chalangod crushed a 34-year-old Alabama record with an NCAA second-ranked time of 9 minutes and 2.54 seconds. Just a second after Chalangod, Amaris Tunisima crossed the finish line to post an NCAA top 5 time of 9 minutes and 3:46 seconds. With a time of 3:57.83, Eulid Kipsang shattered a 21-year-old program record in the men's indoor mile, which was previously held by Tim Breaux since 1999. The freshman captured his first sub-4 mile with a 28.9 final 200-meter, breaking the facility record.
Jake Spotswood opened the day finishing the men's heptathlon in 3rd place with 5,447 points. That points total put him 108 points past the old program record holder Michael Hughes from 2011. It has been an unbelievable season for the Alabama track and field team so far. The women's team is currently ranked 7th in the nation, while the men are ranked at 14.
The Alabama women's tennis team hosted a couple matches this past weekend. Jenny Mine's squad defeated Memphis 4-3 on Friday to improve to 6-0 on the season. In a match that went down to the 3rd set tiebreaker on the final court, Alabama lost in a heartbreaker 4-3 against Furman on Saturday. It was the Tide's first loss of the season.
And moving over to golf, the Alabama women's golf team began their spring schedule this weekend as the Tide traveled to Viera, Florida to compete in the Moon Golf Invitational.
And the Alabama men's golf team will be in action this weekend as well, as Jay Seawald's team will open the spring season at the Gator Invitational in Gainesville, Florida. Here's more on the Tide spring opener.
Florida has a really, really good team. I think they've already won once this early in the spring. You know, it's their home golf course. They play it almost every day. You know, we have a lot of teams in the SEC and other teams at large. It'll be our first time we'll see other teams too. So I'm looking forward to seeing how our guys handle, you know, this time. We have a long time between now and April, but every time you play, you have an opportunity to increase your, you know, your talent. Guys are excited. They get a chance to put the script A on, and they represent more than just themselves. You know, I think that's what makes college golf so special. I like where we are. I'm looking forward to getting in the van tomorrow and heading to Gainesville to find out, you know, where the preparation is and where our team is.
Left side 3, no. Tip! Oh, forget it. It's a flush by John Petty. That was no tip.
Match point number 2. Good pass. Oh, it falls. What a match point. Extra effort play by Alabama, and they come back and win it 3-2.
Welcome back. Those are our ATI Plays of the Week. Now let's take a look at our Players of the Week, brought to you by Payless Drugs.
With a time of 3:57.83, Eulid Kipsang shattered a 21-year-old program record in the men's indoor mile. The freshman captured his first sub-4 mile with a 28.9 final 200-meter and broke the facility record in Columbia, South Carolina. He recorded his 3rd career victory in the mile with an SEC leading and 5th nationally ranked time. Kipsang was named the Southeastern Conference Men's Freshman Runner of the Week.
And John Petty Jr. led Alabama to a win over South Carolina on the road. Petty led the Crimson Tide in both points and rebounds. Petty had 20 points and tied his season high with 8 rebounds. And those are our Payless Drugs Players of the Week.
Thanks for watching another episode of Tide TV This Week.
We hope to see you next week. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, everybody.
This has been a presentation from Learfield IMG College.